You've supported Donald Trump and have been quite vocal about this.
Supportive of Donald Trump. Yes, sir. That's right.
One of his main domestic policy agendas has been Doge, trying to drain the swamp, get rid of the grift, ensure that we have a more functioning, more efficient federal budget. According to the Financial Times yesterday, Donald Trump and Elon Musk, among others, have cut roughly $37 billion from the federal government budget. This is a contested figure, of course. Some of these have already been paid out, etc. It's likely to be lower, but they've assumed about $37 billion. On the top of this, he has engaged in and tried to push tax cuts for the ultra-wealthy that would amount to several $100 billion in terms of tax breaks for the wealthy. Along with this, he has cut money-making institutions, such as the Department of Natural Reserves and all this kind of thing, that bring in about $40 billion, it costs about $5 billion, and the IRS, which brings in a huge amount of money relative to the amount of money it spends. With all of this in mind, is it not fair to say Donald Trump has engaged in a smash and grab for the ultra-rich, for the billionaires that stock his cabinet, for all these people against the modern Americans that you claim to represent?
Okay, how much do you know about his suggested tax plan?
Pardon?
His suggested tax plan?
Some. I wouldn't say I am the world's foremost
He has suggested
expert.
to raise taxes on the wealthy 37% to 40%.
What about federal
income tax?
Capital gains.
He's the first, capital gains will stay where it is, but he's the first Republican president that we have since George H.W. Bush that's recommending to raise taxes on the ultra-wealthy. Number two, a lot of those cuts, I wish would be even more than $37 billion, have not yet been full realized. In America, again, I don't know how applicable this will be, but the people watching online, he's advocating for no tax on tips. So when you get tipped, we have a big tipping culture in America. He's advocating for no tax.
I can understand where you're coming from here, Charlie. I can see why it's popular on the face of it. Donald Trump and Republicans of his ilk claim that the federal budget is something we should be very considerate about, and the debt, and the cost of maintenance on that debt. Even if we don't regard any sense of tax increases or tax reduce on the ultra-wealthy, the fact that he is engaging in and defunding money-making institutions such as the IRS exacerbate and increase this problem of debt dependency that the United States has. It is now the largest single problem in the federal budget. Why would you support a man that is exacerbating this issue he claims to care about so much?
Right, I was answering the question. I mean, first of all, his suggested budget cuts $1.5 trillion. I wish it should be even more. So
that is not true.
No, it is. It's okay. You could look it up.
$1.5 trillion would be the equivalent of cutting the entire American military budget and a half. Where is he getting? This is number essentially pulled out.
Again, it's $1.5
some would say where the sun doesn't shine.
Again, the way that we do budgeting in America in a reconciliation process is over multiple budget cycles. So we're doing 3 budgets this year. I don't know how interested people will be in this.
Okay.
But it's wonky. But again, it literally has $1.5 trillion through this reconciliation process with the largest middle class tax cut in history. I wish the cuts would be even more. Also, to say he's just doing the pandering of the ultra-wealthy, he's advocating for raising taxes on the ultra-wealthy. We'll see if that materializes.
That is an income tax. The ultra-wealthy generally do not take a large portion of their income from an income tax and take it instead from capital gains.
Well,
fundamentally, increasing an 8% tax on Elon Musk, who takes $10,000 as a salary or something stupid, will not make any material difference. This is a straw man argument, and it is obfuscating from the fundamental issue. This is a government for and run by oligarchs.
It's funny you say that. You do know the richest people in America vote Democrat almost 85%.
That is fundamentally not true.
Okay,
the richest,
can I finish?
the most educated.
Okay, again, 9 out of 10 of the wealthiest counties in America vote Democrat. If you earn more than $300,000 US a year, you vote Democrat at a 75% clip. I mean, it is so overwhelmingly the Democrat Party is the party of the rich. Secondly, though, he's going out of his way to cut taxes for working people. No tax on tips, no tax on overtimes, the extension of the middle class tax relief. Again, I don't know how interesting this is for a UK audience, but more broadly, President Trump is doing the impossible, something I hope your government does. He is trying to cut taxes for middle class people while also trying to balance the budget. I wish he would cut taxes even more. It's an ambitious project, and I support him completely in that endeavor.
The extent to which he's attempting to balance the budget is not necessarily true, given that the budget is currently at a higher deficit this current year, as it was at any point under Biden, or I think any other president in history. I would also point to the fact that suggesting that wealthy people overwhelmingly vote Democrats is true to a point. After a certain income, they overwhelmingly vote Republican because the tax breaks, kind of business interests and all this that Republicans offer them. Given he is attempting, in your own words, to balance the budget, again, coming back to the root issue, why is he defunding the IRS, which brings in money? Why is he defunding national parks, which makes money? Why is he engaging in all of this if he is trying to balance the budget?
First of all, some of them...
Can I just finish my statement? Is it perhaps because when you defund the IRS, the wealthiest people, the people that fund his super PACs, the people that buy his Trump coin, people that are in fact in his cabinet, generally pay a lower de facto rate of tax because the IRS can no longer fund to actually investigate and audit them?
Okay, so by defunding, again, the IRS is our tax collection agency. If you guys don't know, it's the Internal Revenue Service. I don't know what it's called here in the UK.
HMRC.
Yeah, sure. So the
favorite.
The equivalent is, number two, that you're not totally wrong about one portion of this, which is that more agents do equal more revenue. You have to have a tension, though, of do you want to grow the IRS by 87,000 extra agents, which Joe Biden did. He's trying to peel that back. Do you believe in or do you know the Laffer curve? Are you familiar with it?
I can't say.
It's a belief that when you lower taxes, you can actually increase revenues because compliance goes up and economic growth goes up. We saw this in the United States during Ronald Reagan, during a massive tax cut. It's called the Laffer curve. And so that's actually debated. Just because you cut taxes, you're going to run a deficit. But you're not totally incorrect. You are correct. And I will admit this point, that when you have less IRS agents, you are going to have less revenue. And I think that it's a good thing generally to have less IRS agents looking into the particulars of Americans. And we have a history over the last 10 years right now.
Actually, the richest Americans.
Well, not necessarily. That's the thing, is that the richest Americans actually are able to hire the tax attorneys and the accountants to get through IRS issues and get to settlement. What we see in the data is it actually ends up with middle-class Americans because they do not have the same infrastructure to deal with a very intense IRS agent.
All right, I'm going to say one last thing if they're taking too much of your time. I think it is interesting to suggest that Donald Trump is the only president that is going to raise taxes on the ultra wealthy. I've already pointed out the potential flaws in that. I would also draw the audience's attention to the fact that Donald Trump is overwhelmingly backed by, supported by, funded by, and in fact stacked his cabinet, as I've mentioned, by billionaires. And you yourself in Turning Point USA relies relatively heavily on the ultra wealthy to give their donations.
Somewhat.
For example, Foster Freeze, although sadly departed. I know, but
we also have.
When you were founding, you were overtly reliant on this. So I would just like to point out that inconsistency, and I thank you for your time.
Thank you. Yeah, great. Thanks.
They are both pointing out, ways that would have made America great. The guy is saying if Donald Trump come down IMF funding, that's going to reduce how much America make. And it's true, you understand? The more the funding, the more America make. And I think Charlie is saying, by cutting down this, it's going to boost American economy. It is proving that the lower the tax, the more people are motivated to work more. You understand? Because when I work and I see that, yes, my money is not going to the government, I tend to put in more and more work. But when I work and I feel like, let's say 20%, 25, 30% is going back to the government, then what I make at the end of the day is no longer much because it's like I'm putting the work, but I'm not seeing the return. Or the return is coming, but government is keeping majority of it. Or maybe, because whatever they're keeping is way too much, you understand? So I think I get the angle the both of them are coming from. But I still believe that Donald Trump is one of the best presidents America have ever had, because I've seen him as a president that whatever he does is for the betterment of America, no matter how you see it. You understand? Reducing tax for low-income earners is a good deal. Increasing tax for high-income earners, it's also for the benefit of America, you understand? But I think what the guy is saying is, if I make $1 million and you charge me 10% or let's say 8%, it's still no increase. But it's something, you understand? At least they are paying more now. And it's trying to make, they are paying more. That's just the gospel truth. Even if you make $1 million and I take 8% from it, it's still much. You understand? I don't have to take everything, because the fact that you're making $1 million does not mean that I should cut you down and make you an average citizen. You understand? Because these top income earners need money to keep on, putting in their business. So if you don't expect Donald Trump to take, like, let's say 20% or 30% from their earning, you understand? It will prevent them from, reinvesting. You understand? Say someone like Mark Zuckerberg, he started from Facebook, had WhatsApp, is still trying to get more and more things, you understand, to evolve, you understand, to increase his productivity, get teams that are ready to work and push his productivity. But when you charge them excessively, now you force them to either leave the country and go to a country with lower tax. Yeah, I've seen that happen severally in Africa, you understand, especially in my country, Nigeria, because of security issue and let's say no light. People are forced to leave the country. Nigeria have a very large market that people would have, want to get into and, benefit from the market. But when you keep on taxing these companies, they tend to leave or they flee They go to maybe a neighboring country whereby the tax is a bit low. Then they produce, then import, export to your country. Maybe by doing that, they will make more profit. But I think that is what that is what Donald Trump is doing. Whatever he's doing, he makes sure that both the rich and the poor are also benefiting. You understand? He's not ripping everyone off for his own selfish gain. He's trying to cut down the high spending of American. You understand? So that at least American can spend less and be able to pay off their debt. And I think that is what every government have to do. They are trying to reduce their borrowing. Well, I feel a whole lot of people coming from this, this show or debating Charlie Kirk need to leave their comfort zone. You understand? At least travel to some developing countries and see for yourself. Then you appreciate what maybe your president is doing. Anyway, this is a beautiful one. Let me know what you think in the comment section. If it is the first time visiting the channel, click on the subscribe button. Thanks for watching and remain blessed.